Hello and welcome to the show. I'm James McCullough. Today we've got three visitors from the United States of America, from Houston in Texas to be precise. So let me introduce to you briefly Carlos and Eduardo and Jack. So welcome to Walsingham.
Thank you.
First of all, what brings you here?
Well, we are here on pilgrimage. We started a walking pilgrimage last Tuesday, and we just arrived this Friday evening.
Okay, fantastic. And you've come from Houston in Texas. Why have you, this is unusual for us to get visitors from Houston here, I would think. So what is the connection? Is there a connection?
Actually, we're all part of the Ordinariate of the Chair of St. Peter, and the Cathedral is set in Houston, Texas. So especially here, the Brands and even Voltaggio, they've been part of this community for a very long time. I'm much newer, but we all have a very deep sense and love for Our Lady,
right.
and so this pilgrimage is really something special for all of us, I think.
And the cathedral is the Cathedral of Our Lady of Walsingham.
Aha, right.
We have a very close connection with this this site, and not a lot of people know about it back in the States. I think a lot of people are not familiar with Our Lady of Walsingham and the story, because I didn't know about it till I first heard of this cathedral, and it's not a popular devotion like Lourdes or Fatima or Guadalupe or
true.
any of the others.
But that's good to know, and I suppose that connection is going to be made better if you go back and start talking all about Walsingham.
Oh yeah. Yes.
But at the moment, not many people there know about Walsingham. I would imagine very few people in Walsingham know about the connection with your cathedral in Houston.
Oh.
So there we go, things can change.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're here on a walking pilgrimage. Now, where did you start off from, and how long has it taken you to get here?
Well, we started our pilgrimage in Ely last Tuesday, as I mentioned. And then from there, we walked for the next 2 days up to King's Lynn, where we had an Ordinariate Mass at the Pontifical Shrine at Our Lady of the Annunciation. And from there, then we walked another 2 days to our east till we arrived Friday evening at the Slipper Chapel.
Fantastic. So how many days in total has it taken?
So it took us about 4 days with roughly 15 miles each day. In total, we walked around 61 miles.
Okay, that's quite good. That's pretty good going.
Oh yeah.
And especially in the warm weather we've been having. How did you find the climate compared to Houston?
Well, in Houston, we have 9 months of summer and 3 of indecision. So these days like these we're pretty used to it.
Right, okay,
Yes.
okay. So it's warm enough, but not too warm for you, at least. Okay. And where did you sleep? What was the...
We stayed in hotels that we could find wherever were convenient spots through our stay.
Hotels? There's not many hotels in
No,
Norfolk,
they're
apart
not.
from Kings Lynn and Norwich and one or two others.
We had a couple Airbnbs as well.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. We started our trip in London. Actually, we were a couple days in London, so we had a hostel style Airbnb in Kilburn.
Okay.
And then I think Ely, we had a travel lodge. Kings Lynn, we had a B&B. Great Bircham, we had a hotel. That was, I think, the only lodging site in the town.
Yes.
Right.
So it was quite nice, more on the expensive side, but it was the only option. So
Wherever we could find cheap stays.
And right now we're staying at the Elm Catholic House.
Oh, yes.
Where we
Here
have
in
been
Walsingham.
accepted with a fantastic Christian charity.
Oh, that's brilliant.
We've enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
I imagine that everyone there has been very sort of interested to hear that you're from a cathedral called Our Lady of Walsingham,
absolutely.
but thousands of miles away.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's really good. And so no camping then, luckily, no camping outside.
Luckily not.
No.
That's all right, that's good. And what about the, your experience since you've been in Walsingham? What did you make of our little village and our shrine?
I would say, I think the whole experience really started in the Slipper Chapel, because we're coming from these 4 days. We're all kind of tired, exhausted, and that was sort of the first milestone where we just rested. And actually the altar of the Slipper Chapel is very similar to the one we have at home. It was actually based on that altar. So the altar at Our Lady of Walsingham is very similar. So it felt very, very home-like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And from there, we did the Holy Mile, and we were all barefoot. Mm-hmm. And so, in a way, it was like suffering with our Lord. And we were planning to getting to the gateway, where the ruins were. However, it was all closed by this time because it was late. So in a way, all our spirits kind of sank. But then I would say we prayed outside of the walls. We prayed a rosary, and we realized that in a way, Mary, who first had to be there to witness her son die, and then had to wait 3 days as he rose, we too, in a way, had that moment of waiting. And finally today, when we got to go to the ruins and where the original Holy House was, it was a beautiful experience and just very, very moving, giving all our intentions to her.
That's fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that that's been a really wonderful experience for you. Yeah. And it's true, it's waiting in hope and trust, not knowing what's going to happen, if the doors will open and so on. Okay. Yes. And then tell me a little bit about how that differs to your cathedral, your Walsingham back in Houston. So what's the comparison?
Being here in Little Walsingham has been delightful because it's reminded us of home in so many ways, and in a sense it is home. Right. As Carlos mentioned, our altar is a replica of the one in the Slipper Chapel. Our church itself is designed off of St. Peter's in Greater Walsingham. And we have statues of Our Lady all over the place. And so finally arriving after these 4 days it's felt like home.
Right.
Yes.
And you're all members of the Ordinariate of the Chair of St. Peter. So what is the significance of Walsingham in Norfolk for you? What's the significance?
So the Ordinariate was founded so that Anglican communities could come into communion with the fullness of the Catholic Church. And I think it's very important, and I think it's essential, that England needs to come back to Our Lady as it comes back to Rome in a very poignant sense. And that's what at least I've been steeped in my entire life. At the Cathedral of Our Lady of Walsingham, we're always hopeful in prayer, and the tradition that we've taken from the Anglican churches is very present. Yeah. And I think it's just a very deep connection to Our Lady of Walsingham.
Yes, and there is, of course, a strong presence in Walsingham, a lot of visitors from the Ordinariate.
Yes.
So it's great to add your numbers. In fact, we were interviewing here many years ago the ordinaries of the Ordinariate globally, so Australia, America, and the UK. So it's great you're sitting in the same seats.
Yes. We should not be here then.
Yes. We are not worthy. Yeah.
And what's the message, or the sort of, what's your own message individually or collectively that you're going to take back to your own communities in Houston?
At least for me, I think I had this very profound moment whenever I was praying there for where the original Holy House was. And then they start like setting up, and they were going to do like benediction, and this group of pilgrims was coming over. So we're like, okay, quick, let's get a picture. So we're all there in front of the archway getting a picture. And as we're taking that picture, it's just like in the horizon, we see like this multitude of people just marching down the aisle, singing. Wow. And whenever you arrived there was no one there. So it was like, in a way, there was a certain sadness, but with that joy and hope, I would say that's a very vital message for us to take back, seeing the reality of how many things are here in England, and of course hoping for the conversion of all the Anglican Church. and that being part of our patrimony. So taking that, but also looking ahead and looking with hope, and going forward with prayer, I would say.
Yeah, bringing back this kind of ancient sense of prayer and reverence towards the things of God. I think one thing, this doesn't really have to do with Walsingham, and we also have done some processions. We did a procession this morning, actually, and I think we're doing another one tomorrow. But also, back in London, we had a Eucharistic procession for the Feast of Corpus Christi, and it was really just remarkable to be walking through hundreds of people in the streets of London, and all of the tourists and passersby just kind of looking on, and they're very intrigued at what we're doing. Because when we're all very unified, because we're singing and we're all following the canopy with the monstrance underneath it, and it was just I think it was a very good public display of faith.
And as you say, I mean, you are a group of young people, and that's such a great witness to just the people on the streets who are observing this.
And we've also noticed that we are some of the there's not too many young people out here in Walsingham, especially coming on pilgrimage. I mean, we definitely saw quite a few other people, but I think we've had a lot of people be very intrigued by our presence here.
I'm sure,
and that's been
sure. But as you say, it's needed. What's needed is a lot of hope and joy. In our troubled times, this is exactly what I think maybe Walsingham can bring.
And
to
I
the
think
outside world.
I think that joy is brought with just the quiet homeliness that can be found here at Walsingham.
Yeah.
And that quiet homeliness is also something that I think is really a staple of the Ordinariate spirituality, because we borrow a lot of our liturgical traditions from the Church of England, and we've kind of purified them and really brought them into the fullness of communion with Rome and Holy Mother Church. And EJ and I we had a long conversation about this the other day, and that's really one of our favorite things about the Ordinariate, aside from the
beauty of the liturgy,
the tradition. There's also just there's a very sort of quaintness with our community, with our campus, and I've noticed that kind of even on a greater scale here in Walsingham. It's kind of a similar. It's like a similar
family of
sort of. It has a similar sort of feel to our campus back home, but just on a larger scale.
There's a sort of Englishness about it.
Yes, it's very. It's made me appreciate how English our cathedral really is.
Oh wow, that's amazing! Yeah. A little slice of England in the middle of Texas.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
in the middle of Houston. Yeah.
Okay.
In the thick of Houston traffic and humidity and all the rest.
But that's it. It's bringing peace and joy to a hustle and bustle of city life.
That's right.
But tell me briefly about your community that you've left behind temporarily back in Houston.
Yes, so the parish that has now become the Cathedral of Our Lady of Walsingham was originally founded in 1984 by some Episcopal priests who took some of their parishioners with them when they had converted to the Catholic faith. And so it was founded by Father Moore and Father Ramsey. And from there, they slowly built up, and it was really a tiny place when my parents first found the church, and I was baptized at Walsingham, and it has been just astounding to see it grow so much. Nowadays, we have Mass, almost every Sunday Mass, which we have 4 of, are packed.
And on all the feast days, like if you want to go to the Vigil Mass
on Easter,
you need to be there like 3 hours before.
Yes, it's true.
I know exactly what that's like. Okay.
And the community, and this is something that really struck me, I think, because I'm a bit newer than they are, but there's a certain family togetherness where the young talk with the old give their wisdom to the young, and it's all very interconnected. It's very unified.
Yeah, that's very rare in the world, but it's wonderful to hear it actually happening. That's great. Yeah. And I someone told me that you were from a homeschooling community as well?
Yes. So the Cathedral of Our Lady of Walsingham actually has two 2 different schools. We recently just opened a new high school with quite an impressive building, but we've had for a very long time now a homeschool co-op that meets twice or 3 times a week, and it's pre-K through high school. All of ourselves and our 5 other fellow pilgrims are all graduates of Holy House Academy, as our homeschool co-op is called.
That's fantastic.
And I think that has been an absolutely integral part of all of our childhoods.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I come from going to public schools and other private Catholic schools, but that school has really taught me more than all the rest of my education had up to that point. It's very eye-opening to be able to.
That's
attend.
good to hear. Very good to hear.
So
That this may be a surprise to you, but we have in Walsingham a very big homeschooling community. So
delightful to hear.
It's grown from over the last 7 to 8 years, and literally a lot of families have just descended and lived, settled here to be part of the homeschooling community.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. In fact, my 2 daughters, they're going to be graduating with a high school diploma because they're doing an American system, online systems. So
That's
there we go.
delightful.
Yeah.
Yes. In Houston, it's such a massive, sprawling city. You can't walk anywhere in Houston, which has been a lovely change of pace here in England. But we have families that come to take their children to Holy House that live hours away, that drive the whole distance.
With their all 12 kids. Or
Yes.
so.
Yes. Amazing. So that's nice that it attracts people from a long way away, and just a bit like here, I suppose. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your own backgrounds and where you're going in life. So Jack, for example, where are you in your schooling? I take it you've graduated, and what's your next steps? Any ideas?
So I graduated high school last year. I decided to take a year off to kind of do some work and just take some more time to figure out where I wanted to go next. And that actually proved to be a very valuable decision for me, I think. So I've been working at a couple local churches in Houston, doing mainly music-related things in the music departments at parishes, which is where I want to work in someday.
Okay.
Doing sacred music, I have a great passion and love for that. Great. So, and I'm planning to attend college this fall. I'll be going to Hillsdale College in Michigan to study organ and choral music.
Okay, bit colder up there, but that's worth the effort.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And yourself, what are you planning to do next?
Funnily enough, I'm also an organist.
Okay.
We are both the organ scholars at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Walsingham. We have an exploding music program as well.
Wow.
And so I'll be going to Mercer University to study organ performance, with the hope of getting into sacred music as well.
Fantastic. Yeah. So we may see both of you on the stage at some point in the future performing
Perhaps,
some live concerts and various. Yeah, that's good. And Carlos?
Well, I'm not an organist. I guess I'm for Walsingham standards, I'm the least musical. But I think
just like me.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the world, though, I think I have some music knowledge, at least some basic
pretty
ones.
well.
Yeah.
I appreciate sacred music a lot. However, I think what I've come to love more and have a great passion is philosophy and theology, which they do as well, but I guess I'm not as musically oriented.
That's fine.
I'm more of a logical, straight lanes kind of guy.
Okay.
So I entered high school, and honestly because in America, you kind of have to decide what college you're going to go to and what you're going to do pretty early in your senior year. You need to start sending applications. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was going to do. I had many ideas, but I didn't really know. But what I did know is what I loved, at least in that current school. I loved all my philosophy classes, my theology classes, history courses, all of these things I had a great love for. So it was actually a quite interesting story, but God made it very clear one day that he wanted me to study philosophy. And so I said, oh, okay, all right, well, I like that, so that sounds good. So I'm actually already technically in college. I'm studying at Holy Apostles, which is an online program.
Okay.
And I'm studying philosophy. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do or just where my life is going to lead me, but I know that this is the will of the Lord right now. So I'm gonna follow it. And see
you're following His calling, so that's really good. And all of you seem to have fantastic callings that you're following, and who knows where it will lead you. But that's wonderful to hear. So I suppose the last thing I want to sort of find out is, would you recommend this place, Walsingham, UK, in Norfolk, to the rest of your congregation in Houston?
Oh, absolutely.
We certainly would.
Absolutely.
It makes you truly appreciate everything back home so much more. I'm sure when I return, I will look at our church grounds in a not a whole different light, but a clearer light. And to be able to know what home is just a little better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really good to hear, and thank you very much for your time talking to us here at EWTN GB. And I hope the weather lasts for the rest of your visit. You're going back on Tuesday?
Well, yes. We'll be
3 days'
returning
time?
to Houston to the unbearable heat. So,
Yep.
Okay. Well, enjoy it while it lasts anyway.
Yes.
Good to see you all, and good luck with the rest of your trip.
Thank you
very much.
God bless.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thanks very much.